People always say, if you don't know about your past, you make the same mistakes, you repeat it. And I think that is true. If you don't know about the mistakes you made, how do you expect to change them?
I moved to the Liberty Square housing project on October the 26th, 1946. We compared it to Coral Gables. It was just that beautiful, well-maintained. The objective of the project was to provide a decent housing community for blacks or Negroes at that time.
Our neighbors were our parents. We were respectful of any adult. We didn't even have keys to the house. You can leave your house.
Never had a key to my house.
Your house was
never.
The door was closed, and we knew each other's house was.
You can walk in and out.
I remember being a young kid riding and asked my mom what the green line in the bus was. Well, that was the line that they had put behind you. Black folk had to sit behind the line.
On one occasion, I was drinking water with a white sign was labeled, and my mother told me, "Come over this way, baby, drink from her." I said, "That sign says color. I don't see any colored water. That water's the same color as this water."
They had a long wall that had us blocked in. White folks on the other side, and we wasn't allowed to go across there.
That wall divided the blacks and the whites at that time. We could not cross.
Liberty City for me was a sense of pride and the American dream. I could have it. However, reality set in after a while.
Liberty Square Projects was, I think, one of the first or second projects that were built in the United States to house black people. That segregation wall or race wall was meant to separate the white residents from the black residents. You know when somebody is judging you because you say, "Hey, I'm from Liberty City." You know when somebody is judging you when you speak a certain way, when you dress a certain way, when you look a certain way. You can feel it. Let me show you how I feel about my neighborhood through the arts. Arts for Learning is an arts and education nonprofit in Miami, Florida. It provides internships for young people. And one of the internship opportunities we have is the Wall In Project. Terrell Alvin McCraney, who's a local playwright from Miami, he was filming the movie Moonlight. And the young man who plays a young Terrell in the movie, he was talking to him about the race wall because they filmed it within the neighborhood, and the young guy did not know anything about it. So that sparked this idea of making sure that people in the community knew what that wall is, but also recognizing that they can be the change that they want to see in their communities. We hire 9th through 12th grade students. It's a paid internship in the arts where they are researching the segregation wall, and based on their research, they are creating monuments that we're going to fabricate and then have installed along the perimeter of that area.
Y'all gonna be working together for 6 weeks. Ooh, child. Y'all ready? But I wanted to do something where you guys can reflect on what you think. What are some principles that make a space safer? I was told that it's better to say safer. Ain't nothing safe.
I don't feel safe when I'm alone.
You're alone?
I don't feel safe when too many people start looking at me crazy.
I don't feel safe around other races.
I don't feel safe when I'm not following that intuition.
I don't feel safe walking the street by myself.
I don't feel safe when I'm in new territory.
So it's important to make these connections.
Interviewing these young men for the program, it broke my heart. One of the normal questions I ask is, what are you most proud of? And literally almost every young man that I interviewed said being alive. The weight of that. You're a baby. You're a youth. Their greatest accomplishment is being alive. And now I'm asking you to come into a space, be free, make art, be creative. Like, what the hell does that even mean? When, your greatest accomplishment is being alive.
The gleaming towers of Miami Beach, set against the dazzling blue of the sea, are a scenic signpost for seekers of fun and sun.
The Liberty City that we know today, high crime, high poverty, really terrible housing conditions, high levels of disengagement and disenfranchisement. It is not a place where we rely on for high voter turnout and high voter participation. We gotta empower people. That history needs to come back.
Let's take our crown to the right. Stretch it out.
The Circle of Brotherhood, we are a volunteer organized group of primarily black men from all walk of life. Some of us are from the streets, some of us are from the suites, some are Muslims, some are Christians, some are activists. Some people work in an office, a 9 to 5, some people run their own businesses, but we're collectively united together to solve our own community problems. We've been in existence as an organized group of men since 2012, and the dedication and the volunteer hours and times that men have spent has proven to political leadership that not only are they serious, they're not going anywhere, but wow, they're effective. Some things are just about repetition and training. We've been so used to doing things the wrong way that when we're trying to do it the right way, our mind's like, yo, what you doing? You tripping. It's not always the complicated things that we need to be including into our life to have a better life. Make sense?
We're gonna be our own directory today, all right? So we wanna introduce ourselves and introduce what we do so that we know what you do and know that we can tap into you if we need your gifts and your talents.
I do landscaping and groundskeeping for City of Miami, Miami-Dade County.
I work at the airport.
I'm an accountant, current firefighter paramedic.
I work for the City of Miami CRA.
I hired 60 kids this summer to get them off the streets.
I used to be cancerous to my community. I found the cure. I am my way.
How many of y'all remember the shooting that took place in Liberty Square where 4 young men were shot and 2 lost their lives? We stepped back and took a look at our whole community, said, what do we really need to do? And we developed a plan from there. And it seemed like for the first time in a long time, a lot of our political leaders and officials were really ready to listen. Wait, let me back up. Some of y'all ain't been down this road before, right? When you come with a real solution, but you ain't got no real time to make nothing for real happen. And then we end up going into a vicious cycle of trying to get the problem solved in our community. We promise not to do that. Who do we serve? Our community. Brotherhood. One brother. One hood. Who do we serve? Our community. Who do we serve? Our community. Clap it up if you're still here.
I don't have nothing bad to ever say about Liberty City.
that this is on. 1132. 09, show me how. This is all I know. This is all I grew up. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. You covered the gun under the seat, right?
Listen, I saw the gun in the car. It's a gun on the scene. That all I did was take it away. I'm not saying it was involved. I just took it away so they wouldn't use it on us.
I appreciate you so much. Born up and raised here, I've seen a lot growing up. I know the demons that the community face. I'm a black man and I'm a police officer. We all hear the stigma about police officers and the minority community. You have a lot of gang violence. You have a lot of drugs. They go a dope house right there. These two corner stores, we always find narcotics. And there's not a lot of opportunities. You know, you see a lot of people that wants to do well and they try to find a way, but when they don't have when they have limited resources, they don't have that much options.
If we forget about this wall, we won't remember segregation. We won't remember that people were treated badly and it was deemed as okay at the time.
You just need to see what it means to be able to formulate your own ideas.
So what is your plan?
We each have our own topic, right?
Like crime rates in this neighborhood. It could be events in this neighborhood. It could be absolutely whatever you want.
I never really thought about the wall. I just thought it was a decoration in the community or whatever.
Y'all three come up with one sentence that defines y'all project.
Let's start off with the good stuff about the neighborhood. Like people can come together and join hands by the wall, something like that.
No, man.
Put coming together by the wall, joining hands. But that's just something to put down. Or you have an idea?
Okay, well, you need a lot more than that. But when you're dealing with our youth who going through so many things, they are very good at hiding it well, putting it behind a mask. So the engaging in creating the conversation allows us to be vulnerable and open around each other, and this helps us come together. And suddenly, it doesn't hurt so much. Yeah. You got a lot more talent than you give yourself credit for. Why you don't speak more? And you named after Malcolm, bro. You named after one of, shit. This wall-in project is here to create a new narrative.
So you like, yeah, I'm still ready.
Political power comes from unity. You can have 1,000 people, but if they're not unified, they can never affect the outcome of anything, and therefore they are invisible politically. Don't compare yourself to other people, because you're gonna be different. You're not gonna be like everybody else. So when people are different, they're put in a place to change things, not to blend in. You feel me? But if this is what you got under that hood, bro, you ain't got nothing to be afraid of, bro. You got talent, man. You got talent.
Look at the fabulous ladies of Delta sorority. Go ahead, ladies.
We're in Miami Gardens, man. We're at the 7th annual Trayvon Martin Peace Walk, Peace Talk. This is Serving Minister Anthony Durden, representing the Circle of Brotherhood, black men solving our own community problems.
Yeah. Y'all stepping on. Make some noise again for Delta sorority.
Well, we just want to send a clear message out, and we want people to get involved and participate and not just like something on social media.
When black people have memory, people tend to get mad. Why can't you get over it? Because we ain't over it. Because it ain't over. Because it's still going on. Because the Trayvon Martins of the world are still being subject to vicious acrimony, white supremacy, social injustice, and blackface. Want to have a black face but don't want to have a black body. Want to have a black face but don't want no black spirit. Want to have a black face but don't want no black consequences. And so I'm here to remind you, to remind us that Trayvon is still real.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
And that means you can't just come to the picnic. You just can't come to the rally. You got to rally yourself and get to that voting booth. That's why black women have saved us in America. Black women voted Doug Jones in down in Alabama so that for the first time in 20 some odd years, a Democratic senator came from Alabama. Don't just go to church on Sunday. Don't just pray on Wednesday prayer meeting. Don't just go to choir rehearsal. Get off of your behind and get out here to make sure that justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Peace.
Our electoral outcomes really do turn on turnout. There's not a lot of incentive to participate in the process because these 4-year and 2-year election cycles, to you, they can come and go and your life never changes. We can be as frustrated, we can march all day, we can protest all day, we can make phone calls and tweet all we want. But until we actually capture the seats of power and the votes to actually make the change, we're gonna find ourselves in this perpetual cycle.
What would make you choose to starve yourself?
9 members of the Circle of Brotherhood, a Miami-based nonprofit organization, have been on a hunger strike for the past 6 days protesting gun violence. Today, Miami Mayor Francis Suarez and Police Chief George Colina visited the group's camp to offer their support.
Hey, Brady, that's my nephew, the second one right there, in front of you. No.
Our immediate goal is to create that internal dialogue. So many people have been desensitized to the issue of gun violence, particularly when it happens in urban communities. So not just to re-stimulate that conversation, but to also bring national and international awareness to an issue and to connect people to collaborate together on it.
The goal is awareness. The goal is awareness, man, to bring attention to a dying need. It's been a very personal and emotional experience for me to see these shirts hanging on, the precious lives that were lost right here. I was actually at the bedside when the doctors walked in and pronounced him dead when they pulled the plug. This is an epidemic.
Who's your group? Boy, if you don't get over there in your group.
When you talk, it's just like a relationship. You need to say what you need to say. You need to say what you feel so people can understand you.
Hey, Miss Bobby. I could ask you about the community.
Push it over.
Who got the questions?
What's something that you would want to see to better the community? Like, what's something you think that could be used to better the community?
If you stay focused. You got to stay focused. All kind of shit can be going on right there at 1310. We live in 1311. We don't care. We look out the window what's going on. We don't never open our door with something going on. Thank y'all for being interested in the history out here, because it does mean something.
Right now, I feel like it's a good privilege to be out here, talk about the wall, because a lot of people don't know about it, because it's still history, it's Black history.
Yeah.
And it means something to us. Segregation isn't over, but it's not completely over. Some people trying to bring it back.
I swear to God, I never knew this. Like, I drove by here so many times. To come here and see this wall, to sit here and hearing people, what they had to say about it, it's crazy.
Maybe we need to put a sign up.
Yeah, like,
Put a sign
we could
up.
do that. Put a sign.
Letting
Like,
people know the real meaning. 'Cause I always used to run through them bins, though. Police escorting us out, telling us not to come back. How you gonna tell me not to come back to my own hood?
it's crazy.
Because he was missing.
Yeah.
Does that mean he was missing?
No, that means they're missing him. He died and his family misses him.
It's a lot of people.
You feel like wherever there's a lot of black people, there's a lot of bad going on. I can't go anywhere without being looked at as someone who I'm not. I'm not a gangster, neither do I want to be a gangster. But wherever I go, I'm portrayed as a gangster. Whenever I get together with my friends, we play basketball, we have fun. We listen to music, we eat hot dogs and party. But people don't look at it that way. They always put us in a negative light, which is not always fair. At least get to know me before you judge me. That's all I want.
The only thing that got shot is legit, they just hit his car. That was it.
1232, show you online and make it a 13. 1232.
We responded to a 30 shot spotter, where it's like 9 rounds, then 11 rounds. The 3 is
boom, like boom,
yeah,
boom. Looked at his thing and said he can't come over here.
Right. So where he at now?
He around the corner for this man house, Peter. Right around him, I can show you.
There's no way he got out. No way he left that quick.
It's going to be referenced.
you gotta be crazy to do the job.
Father by need receiving delayed black male, black shirt.
Pulse 80, respiration 14. Looking good, baby, looking good. I feel good, buddy. Looking good. Thank you.
It's day 16. For the last 16 days, we've only drinking water. Going strong, feeling strong, ready to see major changes in our community.
Most of the problems we have in our community right now is because we don't know how to resist an urge. Your stomach is your first appetite. If you can get control of your stomach, you can get control of all the other appetites.
In Florida, I got sued by the NRA and the Second Amendment Foundation because the Florida legislature passed a law that said no local government official can vote to implement laws that impact guns in any way, shape, or form. Suing me over my refusal to repeal a city ordinance in my city which simply says you cannot shoot guns in city parks. You can't shoot guns in parks where our kids play and our families picnic. And that was so radical a notion in the state of Florida that it has a chilling effect. These people elect elected officials to go into the seats of power to change their communities, their neighborhood, society for the better. The Circle of Brotherhood starved himself out to bring attention to gun violence in Liberty City. And what we're now telling them is that as much as you want me to legislate and as much as I want to take steps to make our community safer for all of us, the legislature has put a handcuff on me and said, no, thank you. And so why would I go out and vote if I send people to make change and change never comes?
We found out that they were going to tear the project down. We don't want all those high rises, because that's what happened to the other project over there. They moved them all out and didn't bring none of them back. When it come down to money, people act funny.
Miami is ground zero for sea level rise in the world. Okay? They are predicting that Miami Beach will be underwater in 60 years. Liberty City, which most of us are from, sits between 10 to 12 feet above sea level. So even if we get to 6 feet, our communities are not going to flood. Y'all following me here? So to a developer, that is the most prime real estate you can have. So you have people who are not buying up blocks at a time, okay? So don't let them hustle you. If a developer approaches your family and they be like, oh, we'll buy it cash for $100,000, that means it's worth $300,000, and tell your mama to ask for a higher price.
Well, we can help. I got all the evidence on it. We can help you. It's a tragedy when a people who's been restricted and confined to a community, and to see it now slowly but surely being invaded by big money changers. And then they charge rent that the people who were there all their life can't afford. We can't sit by and be silent and say that it's all right, because it's not all right. Gentrification. Too many people that looks like me and looks like you, we're losing our neighborhoods. Big money people are coming in and getting our mamas and our daddies and our grandparents property for $800 and $1,000. That's not fair. That's not right.
Everybody shout with me. Everybody shout with me. Say everybody shout with me. Hey, all things are possible. Oh, all things are possible. Hey, I can come. I can breathe. I believe. Oh, God says all things are possible. All things are possible.
Police. Huh? I mean, it looks like you need rescue.
Look at the history. For some reason, when it comes to black men, we always get treated differently from police officers. That's why I try to humanize the badge. Now, we want to be real for a second. I have worked with officers that I was like, yo, that's a little racist, don't you think? I seen it. I seen officers treat other people differently, and it's the reality. But the thing about it is, people don't want to point out the elephant in the room because they think it's going to be a backlash. And I think all we want to do is let's just talk about it, like realize there is an issue with that going on. Until then, the situation will never be solved. Oh, we can pull that car over.
This weekend, 9 men in Miami ended 22 days of self-imposed starvation. Their sacrifice to draw attention to one of our community's most egregious failings: shootings, sudden loss by gunfire. That should already have had full attention, but sadly, it does not.
I just can't. I just had to come in and get it. You all right? You sure? Because you were so heavy on my heart this morning. That's why I had to come and hug you, Nick. I was just trying to.
She did. Taking care of herself.
Yeah.
Let me go get her hair done and then nails done. I don't know
Whew. Yeah, I just had to come and hug you, Nick.
Wait.
Now we good, man.
To take a physical barrier, a physical wall that was literally intended to separate black and white people in Miami, and to reverse the psychology on that from being negative, and we're going to reshape what this means for the next generation of folks who are introduced to this wall, is extremely empowering, and I think has the potential effect of engaging more people civically, and not just the history, but also in shaping the future.
Y'all just go ahead, come on.
So God said, no, your answer to this prayer is delayed. Look at your neighbor. Tell your neighbor, delayed prayer doesn't mean denied answers. I need you to know everything that twinkles ain't gold. And God will let some stuff shine in your face that will draw you out of your place. And when you're out of there, you get dragged, you get walked on, talked about, stabbed in the back, abused, everything you can think about evil. That's what happens when you go for the twinkle and the tingle. He's able! He's able! God will make a way!
One brother, one hood. One brother, one hood. Who do we serve?
Our community.
Who do we serve?
Our community.
Clap it up and we still here.
Yeah! Little one, whoever you are. Whoever you are.
And the people were captured and placed aboard the ship. Even the great eagle was captured.
Their skin may be different from yours, so that means that there's gonna be other kids that don't look like you, huh?
He says, we are not chickens. He said, we are eagles. You have the power to fly. All you have to do is flap your wings and you will soar. Ooh-wee.
So we know you're gonna grow up one day, right? Yeah. How many people ready to grow up? Y'all ready to grow up? All right.
He got the whole world in his hand. He got the whole world in his hand. Come on.
Guess what? Each and every one of you are geniuses. That means you are very smart. You are very smart. You are very smart. You are smart. You are smart. You are smart. You are smart. I know you're the teacher, but you're smart.
I'm not saying that they get splintered. I like it. It's perfect. Yeah. We may be goofy and stubborn and a little arrogant, but we're young. We can do anything. There are certain things that you achieve. I change the weather.
Love you. Love all of you.
All right, baby. Thank you so much.
Better not be complaining.
We have a tiny model. We have tiny models for everything.
I feel good. It feels good, yeah. It feels good to be proud of. You know, I know who else could come out here and just sit down.
With projects like this, they can't go wrong.
Give 'em a little time.